Many chances, 250 left to go. Adama's Prince went up on the outside of Too Much to Bear. They get the better of Dawn Flight. Wider was Deal With Me, and Jack Duggan battling away as is Ling Weaver. Too Much to Bear bursts clear inside the last 100 over Adama's Prince. Deal With Me finishes off late, but Too Much to Bear over So Am I is now extending down the centre. Then Head of State. Miss Fox goes back to the inside. Kariba the leader inside the 200. So Am I coming home strongly. A Magic Zariz battles away. Then Head of State, but it is So Am I in front close to the line. So Am I takes out the last over a Magic
Wuhan Warrior just in front. On the outside, after it is Tricks of the Trade. Wuhan Warrior and Tricks of the Trade stride for stride, and then one will walk. Wuhan Warrior, Tricks of the Trade. Tricks of the Trade is the stronger horse though, has raced to the front from Wuhan Warrior. One will walk, and Tricks of the Trade comes away, wins a half length. Inside the 250 though, and Born to Rule has sped to the front and raced away now. Born to Rule is clear, battling away to Rise Again. My Blue Boy, Something Ready, Regal Poise. Born to Rule way out in the centre of the track is nicely out in front. Something Ready coming through. My Blue Boy's battling on, but Born to Rule's going to bolt in, and Born to Rule races home a length and a half. And Special Picture letting go for the run right down the outside. Inside the 250, it's Gallant Ranger. Special Picture coming with a big run though. So is Domineer, and still there Trade War, and Popcorn Tender is getting up on the inside as well. Across the track with Special Picture wide out. Popcorn Tender the inside comes through. Special Picture just in front. Special Picture has won.
From Romania, Second Nature, and Escadora's peeled 4 wide. She's going pretty well, and she got to the leaders pretty quickly. Then came Big Crunch, followed by Man of Heart. Pearl Bay was next, but at the 200, Escadora led. Big Crunch is within a length, and getting into the clear starts to loom as a chance. And then came Great Boulder. At the 300, Burdigan's gone. Battaglia left in front. Renova challenging with Runaway River. They're the main ones. Renova.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the RacingBet Preview, brought to you by WinnersBet. Bet local with WinnersBet. Head to www.winnersbet.com.au if you are having a bet this weekend. And it's a good weekend of racing. We've got a bunch of the good horses returning at both Caulfield and Randwick, which has actually been taking place at Kembla Grange this weekend because of the COVID situation in New South Wales. I'm your host, Tim Geers, joined by Trent Crebbin. It's been a really good run into the weekend, and I'm excited for this weekend's racing, Trent. I haven't been for the last few weekends, but I don't know whether it's the good results in the past couple of days or just a few of the good horses returning, but really looking forward to Saturday's racing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I look forward to every Saturday's racing, even if it's the middle of winter and we're at Ballarat or wherever we're at Kembla Grange, doesn't matter. But exactly. We love it. But no, getting onto, I think there is some really good racing this weekend. I'd say especially at Caulfield. We've got 3 group races, a couple of really handy new season 3-year-olds. So it'll be always interesting to see if they've made that step from 2 to 3. And then we've got the PB Lawrence as well, which is a pretty solid field for a group 2. It does look a good card.
Yeah, it's almost like the unofficial start of spring, the PB Lawrence Stakes. It's generally, gathers a good field of horses, and it's the first really serious race heading into the spring in Melbourne. While over in Sydney, we've got the card headlined by the Group 3 up-and-coming stakes. As I said, the meeting taking place at Kembla Grange, which isn't really one in my wheelhouse. And I think I'll be taking it fairly conservatively again this Saturday, just like we've spoken about in the past couple of weeks, Trent. Firm, you've gone from wet tracks to firm tracks. We've got some good horses returning against the race fit in-form winter horses. And look, I wouldn't say I'm all too familiar with Kembla Grange. So probably going to be a small betting weekend for me. However, I'm hoping you can tip the punters into a little bit more confidence at Caulfield. This week's been a good week heading into the weekend, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been solid by the team. I think especially yourself with a few good results at Belmont. Today taking the reins in Victoria, a couple of winners at Geelong. Billy will find something completely random out wide at wherever he's betting throughout the week and nail a few winners as well.
Yeah, hopefully can carry that form into the Metro stuff on Saturday, as you mentioned. Really good day at Wednesday. And I just love, like, at the end of the Belmont card when something bobs up and, not all often it's our best value bet of the day, but just seems like the whole of Twitter or everyone's finished the workday over in the East. They're all tuned into, like, the last couple of races at Belmont. And God bless Special Picture, who just quietly, Razor Ray, just basically declared it pre-race and said this thing will be going really close. It's way over the odds. Still started, 15, $16 and just came from last, sailed down the outside. landed our best value bet of the day at Belmont. And like I said, seemed like the whole of Twitter was on it. But yeah, good to carry that form into Geelong today. And let's just hope we can carry it into the weekend of racing on Saturday. All right, let's get into our best bets. We'll kick off with you at Caulfield, Trent. This is a horse that divides a bit of opinion, but you've made it your best. Race 5, number 5, Jumbo Azaki, currently priced at $4 with winnersbet.com.au. Danny O'Brien for Craig Williams riding.
Yeah, I think that's the first kind of knock with the horses. The Danny O'Brien stable is definitely not going as well as it usually does. He normally strikes at around 15% or so. He's currently striking about 2 recently. So look, we're chipping him into a bit of form here, but he's a very good trainer, and I think he'll start to turn around and as his good horses start to trickle back in. I think Jumbo Azaki is going really well. He was first up off basically a year's break. I thought he kind of sat close to the pace and ran quite well. Obviously needed the run there. Last start, second up, this track and distance. Again, he kind of just sat midfield, and he probably should have won that race. He got beaten by King Magnus, where he kind of had to duck back to the inside and stopped momentum. King Magnus got given a great ride. That form stacked up really well. King Magnus has gone on. He's won a Saturday Open class. Probably should have won last week as well, again in a stronger race. So I think that form stacks up really well. Willer replaces Fred Kersley, so I think it's it's kind of time for him to peak here. Third up, they've gone all out. They've put the one of the best jockeys on. Draws perfectly in barrier 5. He maps to just camp just off the leaders, and I think he's really ready to win here. So $4, I'll make him my best of the day.
Okay, race 5, number 5, Jumbo Azaki for Trent. Hoping to get DOB and Craig Williams into a bit of form. Bit of a scary statistic, that. One winner from their last 50 runners heading into the spring. But it was about this time last year that Danny O'Brien just started winning every single metropolitan race under the sun in Victoria. So I'm sure within the next few weeks he'll start to come good. Okay, over at Kembla Grange, my best bet of the day. I'm going to wait till the lucky last. Now, this week, I promise you, I will not be betting into midways, and I will not be betting into the highways. I think last week, if I had just left those races out like I said I would, and then didn't, I would have won for the day. Instead, I decided to bet into both of them and lost. So this week, no midways, no highways. But I do think there's a good bet in the lucky last, race number 10 on the card. And Trent, I'm going to lead on you for probably both my bets for this meeting. This horse has done a bit of racing in Melbourne. This is race 10, number 10, Pale King for Team Hawkes, Tommy Berry in the saddle. This is a 4-year-old gelding who actually used to race in the UK, won on debut at Lingfield, and then was shipped out to Australia, where he won his first 2 Australian starts. The first was here at Kembla Grange over the mile. He then had about 5 months off the track, resumed with a first up victory over the mile on the Lakeside course at Sandown, Trent. And then he failed as the $2.50 favourite at his next start at Sandown. That was the last time we saw him. They've sent him for another spell. He's come back with a trial in Sydney at Rosehill, and I'll play the trial over the screen. I just thought this trial was exceptional. He settled last right at the back of the small field, and he just got home really well under his own steam, wasn't asked to do anything, and I thought he hit the line really well. I think this is a winnable race. There's a lot of horses in this race that are suspect. They kind of just take their turns. Blondo, he just turned into a different horse last start. There's 2 versions of him. He draws barrier 14 here with 61. Ashman comes off a win in a midway, which, this is a harder race than that. You've got a few Snowden horses, which bob up every now and then. Cordia was very disappointing last start. So I think this is a really winnable race. And I think he's probably the most progressive horse in the race. Three wins from 4 career starts. As I said, he's won 2 of his 3 starts here in Australia. I think he's come back a better horse this time in. Drawn well, barrier 5. Tommy Berry booked off a really good trial for Team Hawkes, who I think only have 1 or 2 runners for the day here. And I think in the past 12 months, they've had 5 winners from 18 starters at Kembla Grange. So when they do bring them here, they typically go well. And we're getting $4.60. And that for me is a very backable price. So happy to make him my best of the day. If he drifts out, you could even back him each way, depending on what price he gets to. Race 10, number 10, Pale King. Trent, do you have any thoughts on him? You've seen him a bit more than I have.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I like that he's also had that run at Kembla Grange. It was a while ago, but at least he's seen the course before as well. I think he is quite progressive. My one query, and I think you can negate it a little bit, would be the 1,400 meters. I think he's a horse that in time will probably get to 2,000, maybe even further than that. We're not sure yet.
Well, he won on debut over 2,400 in the UK,
exactly,
which is crazy.
Exactly. So you think he will get up and trip as he goes on. But like you said, that trial was really good. And I think they've given him just the one trial to keep him quite fresh for the 1400 meters. So, you can kind of negate that a little bit by saying he will be fresh enough for this. So I think, yeah, you could definitely come with and I don't mind it at all.
And he's also 3 from 3 first up. So clearly he does race well fresh, like you're saying. So anyway, he will be my best of the day at Kembla Grange on a card that is likely to be one of not much betting from me. Okay, let's find something at odds for the punters. And when I say something at odds, I didn't mean for you to go and tip one at $201, but that's what you've done. Let's go through your best value bets of the day. These come up in race number 3 on the card at Caulfield. You're going to back 2 horses. The first of those is number 1, Second Slip. He's currently a $5 chance after scratchings. These horses have both come in a little bit after scratchings, but Will Clarkin and Jamie Carr. And then the second of those is, where are we? Horse number 10, Divine Mr. Tycoon. He's coming to $126, beaten 9.4 lengths first up, and has never won second up from a spell. Take us through your thoughts there, because I'm curious.
I'll quickly start with Second Slip. I think he's almost the horse to beat here. I think he's got a bit of a class edge on these against a couple of these mares that have just a bit of a mare's kind of take it in turn feel. He had a really good last prep. He won first up. He won his next 2, and then he ran some really good races at listed company. Wasn't far off the likes of Night Raid and also Groundswell. I think that's definitely strong enough form for this. Gets J Carr on. I think he'll run really well. The other one, Divine Mr. Tycoon. Look, I'm not really sure how I've come up with him, to be honest. I just thought it was a really even race with a bunch of new kind of 4-year-old mares that aren't very good. And I went looking for something that maybe at his best could be good enough to compete in this. I think Divine Mr. Tycoon at his best would certainly be a lot shorter than $126. First up in an easier race, BM64, he was absolutely awful, beaten 9.4 lengths. This is a harder race, but you go back through his form kind of in the autumn of 2020, and he ran some really good races against some horses that would probably be quite competitive here. Like he ran 4th in a BM78, and then he also won a BM78 at the Valley, beating a horse called Grandview Avenue. That horse progressed to listed class since then. He's also got some form around the likes of I'm Telling You, kind of this benchmark Saturday grade barely, and he was racing quite well against those. So look, it's a real throw up the stumps, but if he gets back to that kind of form, drops about 6 kilos in the weights as well, he'd be some hope in this. And I just thought in a really even race, happy to have a very, very small bet on him each way. A real peanut kind of set up here.
A peanut. That might be what you turn out to be when this horse gets beaten 20 lengths. I don't
think it'll run last.
Oh, there's a horse.
I don't think it'll run. There's a horse at 200s as well called High Cost, which is coming off. Tell me if you heard of these places before. Blackall, Tambo, and Charleville and Narama. It's like North Queensland picnic form he's coming off, and he's having his first run in Melbourne, and that could be beaten 35 lengths.
Set up job.
Surely.
35
so I think we'll at least
keep going.
I think we'll at least beat one home.
Right.
And there we go. Hopefully a few more.
I love that you started off with this horse was absolutely awful first up in an easier race. That's great stuff.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
All right. Well, let's get over to my best value bets of the day, because I'm a little bit more confident than you. And the last couple of weeks, I have not been confident at all with these value bets. And that's why I've had my arm twisted into trying to bet into highways and midways and any other ways that exist in Sydney racing at the moment. But this week, I'm actually pretty confident with my best value bets. I'm going to be backing 2 horses in race number 6 at Kembla Grange, okay? The first is horse number 4, Mayfair Spirit, for Kieran Maher, David Eustace, Tim Clark in the saddle. And the second is horse number 9, Accountability, for Chris Waller and James McDonald. We'll start with Mayfair Spirit. This is a European import who had his first run in Australia at Sale. Trent, I'm not sure if you watched the race or not, but if you did, I'll get you to give me your thoughts on him. He was beaten 0.4 lengths. That was first up over 1,600 metres. He's had 5 starts first up from a spell, and he's only placed in 2 of them. He's never won any of them. However, if you look at his second up record, he's had 4 starts for 2 wins. He gets up to 2,000 metres. 2 of his career wins have been over this distance. So he's had 3 starts at 2,000. He's won 2 of them. He goes well on firm ground. He's got a little bit of a tricky draw in barrier 13. Just hoping that he can get an easier run in transit than he did first up at Sale, where he sat four wide the trip, basically with the apprentice on board. So given that, I thought his first up run was really good, and I think he's only going to improve here up in distance, second up from a spell. And I thought at $7.50 he was more than backable at that price in what looks a really winnable race to me. The second horse I'm going to be backing is horse number 9, Accountability. J-Mac and Waller team up for the first time this prep. J-Mac goes on. I'm convinced this horse is actually going significantly better than what his form reads. He's had 4 starts back from a spell. He's been beaten 4.5, 5.5, 7 lengths, and 8 lengths. But all 4 of those career starts have been on, all 4 of those starts this preparation have been on rain-affected ground. He's raced on a soft 6, heavy 8, and a soft 5 last start. Look through his career, he's had 8 starts on rain-affected ground. He's only ever won 1 of them. However, if you look at his form on good ground, he's had 10 starts for 3 wins and 2 minor placings. So getting back onto a firm track here is going to be the big key for him. He draws well in barrier 6. As I said, J-Mac goes on for the first time this prep, which tells me and should tell you that he's ready to win. There's a couple of other Waller runners in this race. So tipping J-Mac would be riding them if they were a better chance. He's had 1 start here at the track and distance at Kembla Grange. That was a win. I think all the stars align for this horse to turn his form around, and we're getting double figure odds with $10 available. So he's a get on for me. Happy to back both of them. Pretty confident that one of them, I'm not going to say pretty confident that one of them wins, but I'm pretty confident that they're over the odds and they'll run us a good race. So that's race number 6 at Kembla Grange, horse number 4, Mayfair Spirit, $7.50, and horse number 9, Accountability, $10. Trent, did you watch that first up run from Mayfair Spirit?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was a really solid run over the mile. Hit the line well. The talking point out of that race was Worsfold, who should have won by about 4 lengths. Yeah, that was a horrible watch. I think that Worsfold horse is quite good. Was supposed to go around against Tuvalu the other day and was scratched. So I think that's a fairly solid form. And like you said, he's really going to improve up in trip.
Yeah, definitely. Worsfold had won his 2 races leading into that race. And like you said, dead set should have pissed in. I think that's a good form line. Just needs to overcome a tricky barrier, but pretty confident one of them goes close there, and we'll be betting accordingly. All right, let's take a look at the day's feature at Caulfield, the Group 2 PB Lawrence Stakes. Who have you got on top there?
Look, I've got the track and distance specialist on top, Streets of Avalon, number 2. Really liked his first up run in the Bletchingley, was only just collared late. That was on a soft track. He's much, much better on top of the ground. We could be on a good 3 by this stage of the day. Barry is a touch tricky. There's another horse at 200 to 1 that's drawn inside him here that likes to lead. So just hoping he can get across and sit outside without doing too much effort, and he'll be hard to beat. I think Superstorm's the danger if they do go hard up front. 1,400 meters is a good kickoff point. It's just whether he's wound up, ready to go.
And he could be back last from that draw.
Yeah, I think he will be almost last. It's just, they does look more than genuine tempo on paper. So we'll just have to see how the track's playing a little bit for that one as well. But yeah, Streets of Avalon on top.
Cool. Can't wait to see Superstorm back, and won't be long before we see Inspirational Girl make her Melbourne debut as well. Can't wait for her to strut her stuff in Melbourne. If you head to the RacingBet Twitter page, the PB Lawrence Stakes is this week's hat competition. I think yesterday I sent off a batch of 8 hats to the previous winners. And there's just more and more that are up for grabs. So make sure you head to RacingBet Twitter. You'll find the tweet. We need the tip and the winning margin. So if you're keen on Superstorm, or if you're keen on Streets of Avalon, tip us Streets of Avalon and the winning margin. You think you'll win by 2.5 lengths, whatever you think. And the nearest the pin will win themselves a RacingBet hat, free to enter, and we'll get it shipped to you if you are the lucky winner. Over at Kembla Grange, today's feature is the Group 3 up-and-coming stakes. I think Tiger of Malay will be hard to beat in that one. Has to carry the weight, but J-Mac goes on first up from a spell. He looks a class horse in the race. That'll do us for this week, Trent. I think we'll have Kembla, Caulfield, and Belmont, every single race up on racingbet.com.au. So make sure you check that out. Trent, I think your preview is already up nice and early, and hopefully we can tip you into a few winners. Thanks to WinnersBet for sponsoring this week's episode, and we'll look to carry the good form into the spring. We'll be back to do it all again next week. This Saturday. Trent, anything else before we sign off?
I think that just about covers us. Get on the RacingBet Twitter, win yourself a hat, and hopefully Villamai salutes in the feature.
Okay, best of luck this weekend, everyone. Thanks to Play Up for sponsoring this week's episode, and we'll catch you all again next week.